Hello everyone, it's Katie here from Abridge Academy and welcome to today's webinar, which is all about fun activities you can do with your students online this Halloween. I'm going to be talking about several different things. First, I'm going to introduce the free Halloween theme lessons that you can get with the Abridge Academy curriculum, including in the free tier. So I'll put the link below for you to check those out in a moment. I'm also going to talk about some other activities you can do to add a little bit of Halloween magic into your standard everyday lessons that you're doing with your students. So if you don't want to do like a special Halloween theme lesson, we'll talk about some fun ways that you can add a little bit of that Halloween magic into your standard lessons. And I'll also talk about a few other fun, exciting things you can do just to make your lessons a bit more fun. These are also really great ideas you can run as well if you want to offer some kind of themed like events, like perhaps a Halloween party or something like that, as a way of attracting new students this Halloween to sort of check out you and your teaching and maybe consider taking classes with you too. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. Lots of fun things to get on with. I have noticed the email notifications are having some issues getting through, like they're sending really slowly. So apologies if people might be joining a bit late. If you are tuning in late, don't worry, you can skip ahead this quick intro if you want. I'm going to add chapters to the video here on YouTube later on, so you'll be able to easily skim ahead to the relevant sections to you. But if you're joining us live, please do feel free to introduce yourself in the chat. Let me know where you're tuning in from. Please let me know all the tech is working fine. That's always a bit of worry with these kind of webinars, but it'd be great to have an idea of who's joining us. And while you're doing that, I'm just going to grab my notes. Look, lots to talk about today. Made a whole list of notes to make sure that we can get through everything in today's session. Lots of exciting ideas. If you're new here, just to introduce myself a little bit more briefly, my name is Katie. I'm the director of Abridge Academy. Abridge Academy offers interactive and engaging and super fun teaching materials for online ESL teachers. So lots of fun, engaging slides, step-by-step curriculum. There's a whole bunch of supplementary courses and activities you can do with your students. The link is in the description under the video if you do want to check out the Abridge Academy curriculum. And everything we're talking about today, you will have access to in the free tier. So do check that out if you're interested. Okay, let's see a few people tuning in. We've got Therese from Port Elizabeth, South Africa. Awesome. Very clear. Great. I'm glad the audio and everything is working. I've done these before where I start talking and it gets like 10 minutes in and then suddenly people are commenting saying, Katie, we still can't hear you. So I'm glad everything's working smoothly. That's fantastic. Thank you. Okay, there's a lot to get through, so I'm going to jump straight in by talking about some of the Abridge Academy lessons, the free Halloween theme lessons. I'm just going to pop the link in the chat as well. Oops, I can't type today. abridgeacademy.com. I can spell. There we go. abridgeacademy.com. So if you do want to check out these lessons, they're available in the free tier as well as the paid tiers as well, of course. And you can enjoy the lessons I'm going to show you in just a moment if you do want to use these with your students. So yeah, the first thing I'm going to look at is these fun Halloween themed lessons. And by the way, as we go through this, if you've got any questions at all, whether it's about the lessons or any of the other activity ideas that we're talking about, please do let me know in the chat. And I'd also love to hear your own suggestions of what things you've been doing at Halloween previously, or what you've got plans for this Halloween, and how you want to share a bit of that spooky magic in your classes. I'd always love to hear what everyone's been up to. Okay, so to start with this Halloween lesson on faces and shapes, there are 2 free Halloween theme lessons available for free. This first one is aimed very much at beginner ESL students about faces and shapes. So it's great if you've got some young learners. It's quite an activity-focused lesson. The second one we'll look at is on idioms, and it's got more of a story-based focus, and I'll have a look at that in a moment as well. And then, of course, we'll also move on to those suggestions of other activities you can do to add a bit more fun to your classes without doing a full Halloween theme lesson as well. So this first one, let me just make it a bit bigger. Hopefully you guys can see this okay. I'll jump between about 50 different tabs I've got open at the moment for everything we're talking about today. Loads to do. Okay, so this first one is Halloween faces and shapes. And I'm not going to go through this in loads of detail. I just want to give you a quick idea of what kind of things are in this lesson. It's free, so you can check it out yourself and see if you think it's going to be suitable for your students. But essentially the idea is they're going to be talking about pumpkins, or jack-o'-lanterns, as you may know them as, which are pumpkins that have been carved in the shape of a face. And the learning objectives for this lesson is practicing different shapes like triangle, square, and so on, as well as parts of the face like your nose and your eyes. So we start by just sort of reviewing that core vocabulary. Like here we've got different shapes: triangle, square, circle, and of course you can get your students to practice like doing gestures with the hands: triangle, square, circle, all the different shapes. You get them to do different actions like that, get them to practice finding things that have got those different shapes, all that fun stuff. And then, as with all of the Abridge Academy lessons, when you get things correct, it pops up with these automated rewards. And this, of course, has got a Halloween theme already. So we've got some treats going into their kind of trick or treat bucket there. And then it continues. They can look at some of these jack-o'-lanterns and sort of see what kind of shapes they can see. And then we're going to learn about parts of the face. Again, a bit of a spooky theme here. I always find this a little bit scary, but I don't know, kids still love these kind of creepy skeleton kind of vibes. And they can, say what parts of the face are being pointed to on this skeleton. And then little activity, touch your nose, touch your eyes, all that kind of usual stuff to get them practicing parts of the body. So great for young learners and for beginners, I would say. And then, of course, we make that link between parts of the face and then the shapes that you'll see. So you've got circles for eyes. The nose is a triangle. The mouth is maybe like squares or rectangles. So you can talk a bit about that. And then at the end, the main kind of focus will be on creating their own pumpkin activity, pumpkin carving activity. And they can draw on the screen and sort of say, okay, I want triangle eyes, or I want a circle eye over here. My one's going to have 3 eyes. I'm going to have a square eye at the top as well. And they can decorate and design their pumpkin. I've seen some teachers have a lot of fun with this as well, not only just drawing on the screen, but they've had like balloons. You blow off a balloon and then you can stick the shapes on it to make a pumpkin if you've got like an orange balloon or something. There's also a worksheet underneath, which has got a printable version of this for them to cut out and draw on it themselves, which a lot of kids enjoy. So yeah, that's the first lesson. I'm just going to show you very briefly for beginner students, and it's looking at shapes and parts of the face. The next lesson I want to look at, I am going through these quite quickly because, as I said, they're free, so you can check them out in more detail yourself if you'd like to play around more with them. Because I want to also move on to talk about some other ideas of how you can incorporate Halloween into your standard lessons. I just want to show you these ones relatively quickly so you can get an idea of these kind of Halloween focus classes and what's involved in those. So the next one I'm just going to show you quickly is on Halloween idioms. This one is designed more for intermediate level students. And there's one thing that's important to be aware of. There's like a preview you have to send the students beforehand, which introduces the idioms so they can pre-learn that vocabulary. It's got a kind of flipped classroom sort of format. So they first pre-learn that vocabulary and those idioms at home. And then in the class, it's using a sort of escape room format. So they've got to remember the idioms and sort of how to use them in context. And then there's a story at the end. And kids really love seeing how this all comes together. So it's quite a lot of fun. It's got a kind of witchy theme as well to the design. But you get the idea. It's going to be sort of a quiz basically on the idioms that they've pre-learnt, just to make sure they've kind of understood the key ideas. Like to stab someone in the back means to betray them, for example. A ghost town is a town that's very quiet. So it's a fun little quiz, and it's this escape room kind of format. So they get it wrong. So, oh no, you fell off the broom. Let's go back and then do the question again. So it's using this escape room type format with a quiz. And each section, they complete the section, and then their progress is getting saved, and they go to the next section with a different kind of quiz. Here we got to be scared, stiff. Someone who is a coward is a scaredy cat. So they can just sort of work through the questions, and you can do this. It's really fun as well if you've got a class with lots of students, so they can all kind of join in, tuning in with what they think the idiom's going to mean or what they think the best answer is, and have a lot of fun with these sort of things. These kind of questions as well, some of them got little hints. So here there's a little question mark in the square. If you hover over it, it gives you a little image prompt to sort of give them a bit of a hint as to which idiom it is related to. Like, I know your secrets, and then what's the hint? There's a picture of a cat in a bag. So the hint is the cat is out of the bag is the correct idiom. so they can work through all the different questions. I'm just going to rush to the end because the end is a really cool bit. So after they've kind of reviewed all the idioms, and you can get them to sort of practice their own sentences and have a bit of fun with it, or maybe draw a picture representing it. And then there's like a fun story at the end. And this is using the characters they already know from the A-Bridge Academy lessons. And it's talking about how they go on an adventure. For Halloween, they go into a Halloween costume party. And then along the way, they meet this ghost. And at first, they're scared of the ghost. But then the ghost turns out to be just really sad because everyone's scared of it, doesn't want to be friends with the ghost. So the ghost is sad because no one wants to be friends with him because he's too scary. And they're like, oh no, we'll be your friend. And they invite him along to the party. And then at the party, because he's super scary, everyone's like, wow, that's a really cool costume. Let's be best friends. And so he makes loads of friends at the Halloween party. Is kind of the story there. And as we go through the story, it's using lots of the idioms that they've learnt at the beginning. So it's a good way of practicing the idioms in a fun context with a cute story, and the characters the kids already know and love. Again, I'm not going to go through the whole thing because I'll leave that for you guys to discover. But that's a good one to check out if you've got some slightly more advanced students. I would say intermediate to advanced students would really love this kind of lesson. And I've taught this to sort of younger teens, that kind of age range, but I think also younger kids could also engage with this if they've got a high enough English level as well. So that's what I just want to first start out with, is just introducing those couple of lessons. They're totally free. So the link is in the description underneath the video. And I also popped it in the chat earlier. So if you do want to check out these lessons, go to abridgeacademy.com. You can register for the free tier. And then it's under the seasonal celebrations course. If you go to your dashboard, I'm going to show you where that is actually, because some people struggle to find them. So when you first log in, you go to your member dashboard, scroll down to the expansion courses section. And then it's under seasonal celebrations. And then on the left-hand side, sorry, my face is covering up over here. On the left-hand side, you'll see Halloween, and those are where the Halloween theme lessons are. So you can find them here in the seasonal celebrations course. If you're already on the email list, you would have been sent an email about 3 or 4 days ago with links to those as well. So do check that if you are struggling to find them, or just drop me a message. I'm always happy to help if you need assistance finding any lessons and things. Okay, so that was just those quick Halloween lessons. I'm just going to have a quick look at the chat, and then I'm going to show you some more ideas of how you can incorporate Halloween activities into your standard everyday lessons, because I know a lot of teachers don't want to have a whole special Halloween theme lesson because you're working steadily through your curriculum with your students, and you don't want to have like a break in their learning to have a special themed lesson. We'll talk about some ways as well you can incorporate Halloween into your everyday lessons, which will be hopefully a lot of fun for them, a little bit more excitement without sort of disrupting your normal flow. So we're going to talk a bit about that in just a moment. But yeah, I'm just going to have a quick look at the chat and see if there's anything going on here. Got a few more people tuning in. Great to see you, Yazar. Thank you for tuning in. And Claire, hi there, Claire. Great to see you again. She's saying, looking forward to Halloween again with A-Bridge Academy this year with my students. The idioms lesson looks fabulous. Thank you. Claire actually featured in a blog post last year about Halloween. I was just looking at it again today for ideas of what to talk about in this lesson, in this webinar, because she did some really great lessons and ideas and things last year. So I think I have, yeah, I'll share it later actually with you guys. And show it on the screen, but she has some really great, awesome ideas for Halloween last year. So thank you for joining us again, Claire, and I do hope your students love that idioms lesson as well. Always good to have a bit of variety for some new things. Cool. Okay. If anyone's got any ideas, by the way, what you've done for Halloween activities, do feel free to pop them in the chat. I'm going to quickly run through now a few suggestions I've had on how you can sort of spookify your standard lessons. So let's imagine you're teaching one of the A-Bridge Academy lessons, and I've just picked out share this tab. Is it sharing properly? Yes, okay. So let's imagine you're teaching an A-Bridge Academy lesson. Here we've got a lesson on seasons. And you may be thinking, okay, seasons, that's not particularly Halloween themed, and I don't want to break up my standard sort of format of lessons to have a special lesson. If you scroll down underneath most of the A-Bridge Academy lessons, if they've got like word wall activities and things, you'll find links to those in the video description. And a really cool thing you can do with any of the word wall activities is that you can change them into a Halloween theme, or in fact any other theme, with just one click of a button. I want to show you how you do that. So if you click on one of these activities, like maybe the matching cards activity, and I opened this already in a new tab. I'm going to check this is all screen sharing properly. Yep, let me just pop my face over here. Okay, so let's imagine you're doing this activity, and the links are underneath the Abridge Academy lessons to the word wall activities, if there's word wall activities included. And then all you do, if we just scroll down, underneath it, so the standard one, if this particular one happened to be set to kind of a summer theme, and you click on it and it pops up with a question and you answer the question, right? Obviously, this is not very Halloween looking at the moment. But what you can do, you scroll down underneath, there's a whole bunch of other different formats. So, for example, you could have an autumn theme, or fall if you're American. And even more excitingly, there's one that's called, oh, I missed it, spooky. So if you click on the spooky theme, and then we open that same activity, you see now, rather than it being that summer sort of garden vibes, now we've got this spooky haunted house theme, which works really well with a Halloween kind of theme. Click here. Okay, winter. Which one is winter? And you can answer the questions like this.
Fall.
So it's just a really kind of easy way to turn any kind of word wall activity into a spooky Halloween theme without having to do really anything. You'll find the same with all of the other activities here. So on word wall, you can change to a different kind of template as well. So let's say you didn't want it to be click and it pops up with a quiz question. Instead, you want I don't know, maybe a matching activity. I haven't tested this. We'll see if this one works so well. Sometimes they don't work so well with the different activities. Okay, here you go. So we've got a matching activity, and you see it's automatically picked that Halloween spooky theme to go with a Halloween vibe. And now we can match everything on the screen. And then play the game. Students love these as well because it's got like a leaderboard and they can see like how well they've done. I'm not going to put myself in because it's cheating a bit, but you see this is quite a new activity, so they can compete against other students and see like who does best. So this can be a great way of turning any simple word wall activity into a fun game. Let's just add in the comments, the themes are a game changer. Thank you for sharing this. Yeah, I love this about Wordwall. So if you've got any kind of Wordwall activity, whether that's a Wordwall activity that's linked to one of the Abridge Academy lessons, or it's just your own Wordwall activity, or Wordwall's got loads of activities in their community center as well that other teachers have created. So if you're just looking for something on a particular theme, like a particular topic that you're teaching, you can easily change the theme of it, just one click of a button to make a spooky kind of vibe. So I really love that about the Wordwall activities. Okay, let me have a look on my list. What was the next thing I wanted to have a look at? Next one I had on my list of fun ideas is to do with Koala Go. Let me know if you are teaching with Koala Go. I absolutely love Koala Go, amazing teaching platform. I'm just going to pop a link in the chat if you haven't already checked out Koala Go. Teach with Koala. Let me just pop the link in the description. So Koala Go is like a super interactive and fun teaching platform. And let me just share this tab. So it's, I don't know how to describe Koala Go in one sentence. It's impossible. There's so much going on with Koala Go. It's a really interactive and fun online teaching platform. I use it for my own lessons. I know a lot of other teachers do as well. It makes the Abridge Academy lessons fully interactive because students can click and move and engage with the lesson slides and play games like that Wordwall activity we just looked at. They'll be able to click and play the game with you. Another really cool part of Koala Go is the playground area. And in the Koala Go Playground, you can create this sort of Minecraft-inspired virtual learning world. I'm not really sure how to describe it until you've seen it. It's just awesome. But the great thing about this is you have a little avatar that walks around and explores this virtual learning environment. The difficult bit, though, is that creating these can be quite daunting. So you can either make your own, and you can do like a haunted house vibe or something like that, or you can have a look at ones that have been pre-made by other Koala Go teachers. And that's personally what I'd recommend doing if you're new to Koala Go, because these are amazing and you don't have to do anything. So for example, there's a haunted hideaway escape challenge that teacher Tammy has created here. And I'm not just trying to sell this specifically, it's just an example. There's loads of examples. But as you can see, it's got like a haunted house vibe and there's all these activities and your avatar can walk around and play different games and activities throughout this escape room challenge that she's created. And there's literally loads of Halloween themed ones that you can find here. So you can have a look and find a spooky themed playground area for you to then build your lessons within. This is really fun as well. You can make this educational. You might be thinking, okay, like this looks like a bit of fun. We could play some games, but is this how my students going to learn something. But I think Koo Playground area, not only can you build actual educational activities within it, like matching tasks and like dialogues and role play activities, that kind of thing. But if you just want something that's like zero prep, you can use one of these pre-made Halloween themed playgrounds, and then you can do things like practicing like hide and spook, like hide and seek. You hide somewhere around the playground, and then you can practice directions like turn right, go left, go straight, to direct them to find where you're hiding or where you've hidden like some special treat or something like that. You can do the same with like prepositions of place, like maybe you've put a sweet or a candy, if you're American, sorry, I'm trying to remember the right terms. If you put your sort of secret Halloween themed candy on a table or something inside the house, you can say, okay, this is directions to get into the house, and this is where it is. It's inside the cupboard, or it's on the table, or it's under the sofa or something. So then they have to go on a little adventure following those directions. So it's a good way of practicing simple things like prepositions of place and directions, just navigating around a fun playground. So yeah, that could be a great way of doing things. If you want to build your own playgrounds, and we've got a whole video series all about creating things within Koala Go, including how to build things in Playground. And they actually have a whole bunch of Halloween themed assets that you can add to your playground. So you can turn any playground you created into something Halloween themed if you want to. But yeah, I'm not going to spend ages talking about this, but it's just a fun idea if you want something zero prep, and that's quite adaptable to a range of different topics and a lot of fun for kids. I mentioned earlier about the idea of doing a Halloween party, and I think these can be really great if you want to have that sort of Halloween party vibe, because it feels very different to a standard slide-based lesson. They're all running around and exploring this virtual learning world, so you can have a whole group of kids engaging in your games and activities. So I think this will work particularly well for a Halloween-themed party, some kind of playground-based activity, maybe also add in some word wall type stuff in the co-browser and Koala Go, and that way you can have a lot of fun with these kind of things. Okay, right, so that was another suggestion of how to spookify your lessons. The next thing I wanted to have a look at, I saw that Claire was in the chat earlier talking about a fun Halloween fancy dress party kind of activity. I think this is a really cool thing you can have a lot of fun with. And I think I had some pictures actually from last year. Let me share on the screen here. So these are some amazing teachers who very kindly contributed to a blog post last year talking about the fun Halloween themed activities they did with their students. And we can see Claire over here with her kind of Halloween themed outfits. And you can do something like this as well. We've got Brenda and Stephanie on the screen, and all of them chose to have, things like cute cat ears, or I think those are like Halloween pumpkin earrings that Stephanie actually created herself, which is pretty cool. So you can quite easily, even if you don't want to teach a Halloween focus lesson, you can easily add a little bit of fun just with a fun outfit or a cute background or something like that in your classes. So yeah, and Claire was definitely definitely the queen of this last year. I was very impressed with everything that Claire was working on. A few of the other teachers that I saw there as well. So that's another fun way. And if you're doing outfits and stuff, you can also link that into things that they're learning about. So for example, if you're learning about animals, then dressing up as a cat, dressing up as different animals. Perhaps you're working on like vocabulary for clothes, different kinds of clothes. What are you wearing? I'm wearing a hat. I've got a cape. You can learn some kind of spooky themed vocabulary around clothes, or just normal clothes that you're wearing that you've made Halloween themed. And also parts of the body, like the hat is on my head. I'm wearing gloves on my hands or something like that. And of course, I am wearing, you are wearing, great examples of present continuous tense. So if you want to link in to some kind of grammar learning things, there's a lot of potential there as well with fun outfits and stuff. It doesn't have to be a whole full lesson just themed around the outfit, but it's an opportunity for a little bit of that warm-up discussion to review some of those key English learning topics while linking into a Halloween theme. So that can be a lot of fun too. Okay, have a look at my list of things. So yes, we talked about classroom decor, fun outfits. Oh, the last one I had on here was this idea of creative writing activities. And I'm going to highlight this really cool thing. Let me share this tab. Can you guys see this? Yeah. This really cool thing last year that Brenda shared. I think it was Brenda. Yes, Brenda shared this last year. She's got a really awesome curriculum, by the way, with some fun stories. She's also got a few things that are Halloween themed there as well. But this is one she did. You know that drawing a pumpkin activity with the Age Academy lessons that I showed you earlier on in this webinar. She actually, rather than getting to draw a pumpkin on the screen, she decided that this student was working more on some writing skills, and she decided to help them create a pumpkin themed poem. I think it was a poem or a little story. a story, short story. And so you can get the student to kind of think of a fun, spooky topic and then use it as a creative writing kind of exercise. So, for example, a story could be you start them off with, okay, you've woken up and there's a ghost in your bed. What do you do next? What's going to happen? Or you're lost on the way to school and you accidentally walk into a haunted graveyard. Like, oh my goodness, what can you see? There's a monster. What are you going to do? And you can have these kind of fun, kind of quick prompts. And you can easily kind of create that sort of activity just linking it into what they've been learning themselves in their normal standard English lessons and just adding a sort of spooky theme to it. Like, what happens if a ghost appears or a monster attacks you? Or I don't know, fun stuff like that. You're going trick or treating and someone stole your candy. What do you do next? And it's a way to kind of prompt that story in a discussion. And kids love coming up with creative ideas for stories. Another one I saw that was similar to this, I don't think it was Brenda, I can't remember who it was now, last year wrote a fun poem that was Halloween themed as well. So there's a lot you can do with creative writing that reviews key writing themes, but within this sort of spooky kind of vibe. Okay, so that was my long list. Well, relatively quickly went through my long list of ideas of different Halloween themed activities that you can do with your students. So we had a look there at those free Abridge Academy Halloween themed lessons. I mean, they're free, so check out the link in the description. do have a look at those. A lot of fun with your students, and it's all ready to go, so you don't have to plan anything. I love things like the word wall activities because I'm doing those in class anyway. So if my students don't want to have a special Halloween theme lesson, just mixing things up with a spooky Halloween themed word wall activity or like classroom decor or a fun costume or something just adds a little bit of spooky magic into your lessons. And of course you can have like proper Halloween themed parties with things like Koala Go playgrounds or do something like creative writing or poetry or something like that. There's a lot of fun you can have there. So yeah, I hope that gave you a few ideas. I know this was just a quick webinar. I just thought it'd be fun to jump on here and share some ideas kind of live with you guys. If you've got any suggestions, by the way, in the chat, do feel free to share them with everyone. I always love to hear what everyone's been up to. But I know things were relatively quiet today because the emails, I don't know what's happened with our email system, but they took like over half an hour to send the emails, which is crazy. So some people got the notification a bit late. I do apologize for that. I'm going to investigate what's going on with the email system. But we had a few issues a while back as well. I think it's just processing slowly. So if you tuned in late, I do apologize. You can zip back and watch it from the beginning later on. But yeah, so thank you everyone for joining us. I hope you found this exciting. And I'm going to wrap things up here. We're getting towards the half-hour mark, so I'm going to wrap things up and just say thank you so much for joining us. I hope this has given you a few fun ideas. Thank you for everyone who joined us in the chat. It's been really lovely to see you guys again. And happy Halloween. Hope you guys have a lot of fun with your students and with your families and everyone at home and during this sort of spooky season. So yeah, happy Halloween. Have a great weekend. It's now the weekend here in the UK, so it's gone 5 o'clock. It's officially weekend now. So have a great weekend and I hope to see you guys again in another workshop. Thank you so much for joining us. Cool. Thank you.